I'm grateful for any opportunity that you're willing to give me to share. In this time, you call it the time of transition, the time of change, the time of moving into a new world. Sharing is important on all levels. It helps to get a larger perspective, but the most important aspect is that it may help to break many humans free from their belief structures, their ideas about how this world is functioning, and their often very limited ideas about the different aspects of life that are surrounding them. And that is true for basically all four elements, but it is for sure true about water. Your question is, why did the whales choose to be a water being? And what is the role of water and their role within the water system? Well, it is simple and it can be a complex answer, as you may understand. But first and foremost, it's important to share with you that within the consciousness of humanity, basically you have forgotten what the elements really are. You have forgotten that all four elements are an integrated part in your system. You know certain things about earth, certain things about fire, certain things about water, certain things about air, but it is very limited. And in no way will I tell you that one of the elements is more important than the other, because nothing can exist without any of them, at least not on the Earth system. And within that, water has a function, has a role that is maybe the least understood. You begin to understand more about the crystalline energies and how to use that, tap into that while you are on the physical land masses. But you are not water beings. And although you are, in a sense, mostly water, it doesn't mean that you are in that element in such a way that you understand it. You breathe the air, you think you understand air, you live on the earth and take things out of the ground, you think you understand that, you think you understand about energy, and the only thing that you know about water is it's filling you, and you need to drink it or otherwise you die. And you also know that the reason that is happening is because water is essential for life, and you're born and develop before birth in water. So when the whales were invited to come to the earth to support, or you can say better say beings of Ophiochus, souls of Ophiochus, it was very clear that because our specific function was to be the guardians of a morphogenetic system of the earth, it was very clear that we needed to be in the water. And now you may wonder why. Water is a very unique, and that part you do know, a very unique element. It's not H2O, no. It is far more than that. It is because of the way water is continuously changing in the way the molecules are working together. And water has abilities that you just begin to understand a little bit. It holds the information of Mother Earth. And you will say, hey, wait, that are the morphogenetic grids. That are the grids that are on the land. Now on the land it allows you through the grids to connect with that. But what is in the grids and how it functions is directed through water. Water and the basic information of Mother Earth are identical. All information that is needed for life is literally in the water, in the oceans, primarily. Well, if you really allow this to sink in, you may understand why those who are responsible for information systems go into that medium that holds, of course, the information. Being in the water, in theory, allows you to connect with all information, but in the practical sense, it doesn't matter whether you're in the water or on the land, you have lost the ability to connect. And realize that because you have so much water in your system, you can use that water to connect with all water. The reason that your information system can be so fast is because of the water. Because water is actually, you can say, a literally physical representation of what you call quantum entanglement. In a sense, all water is entangled, meaning that all water not necessarily holds the information, but can connect with the information. Instantly, you can connect with any information anywhere. And of course, it's not a homogeneous system. Different, let's say, water bodies hold different information, and still all water, in a sense, is connected with that information, even though in a certain location that may not be particularly present. But as soon as the consciousness uses that, immediately it's available. It is interesting that you look for systems to understand remote viewing and other elements, while you have a remote viewing system inside of you. But to use that, you need to understand it, and you need to be connected to it. Water is your information system, so to speak. Through that, and through the way you can connect with water, you have access to all information on Earth. And that is something that's completely lost. There was a time that you had connections with a human race that you believe doesn't exist, that had this ability, but much more directly, and in a sense was an aspect of the human collective to remind you how that was working. And now, basically, nobody believes in the existence of the mer people, because they were the human consciousness that was living in the water, directly relating with the whales. They were supporting each other and were the intermediate between the whales and the humans on the land. But those humans on the land who always believed that they can control everything because they were not in the medium that was telling them that you can't, water, were controlling every other living being, looking down on them often. And as a consequence, you lost so much. You have no idea how poor you at this moment with respect to consciousness and awareness of the world that you live in are. And it's still all there available for you. Water is like a fast track to connect with a lot of information. But in order to do so, you need to do something about your consciousness, because your consciousness determines how well you can work with the elements. how well you begin to understand again what they offer you. How well you begin to then understand how you can use certain informations to make changes in your society in a way that things become not only more harmonized, but to realize that there is so much power in the water system, that there is so much power in the earth system, that there is so much power in the air system. Well, you to some degree are aware of the power of energy, of fire. But there's a lot that you can tap into and realize that there are beings that you call the ancient ones that can help you to connect with that. But even those beings are at loss about the unwillingness and inability of humans to connect. Now, this is not meant to scold you or to criticize you. It is meant to help you to understand what the situation is, but also to remind you of the tremendous potential there is. You cannot separate any element from the other elements, because you cannot say you're only water. You can also not say you're only crystalline energies, which you call the physical body. You can also not say you're air. You can also not say you're energy. You're all of that. Even in the element of water, all four elemental powers are present, as you know. So, beginning to connect with an element, inviting the beings that can help you to understand it, can change a lot. You have been working quite a lot with crystalline energies, and that is unbelievably important because it is on the land where you live in. You live in it, and realize it is the physical aspects of Mother Earth that you need to understand because it's your environment you live in. You are not living in the water. But you still need to understand also the other elements in order to be optimally function, even as a human, and especially as a human that is supporting Mother Earth on her journey. You asked to give a reflection on water. Understanding that water holds the possibility for you to connect with information beyond anything you can imagine in this moment may be a trigger for you to look deeper at water, what water can offer. And do not forget to connect with those who can help you with that. Something that is almost completely forgotten. We even don't have a name for the ancient ones that are connected with the water, the ones that was here from the very beginning that water was created on earth, and the ones that can give you the information that you need to optimally work with that element. Each human being will have a natural preference for one of the four elements, even though, and I repeat myself now, you're composed of all four. And use that attraction, because that is what tells you what is important in your lifetime to pay maybe extra attention to. In this moment, there are not enough people that pay attention to the role of water within your earth system. It is time that that is changing. And when we mean with time that's changing, it's really time that is changing. Because that will allow the collaboration between whales and humans and working with the morphogenetic system, which is the element of water, to make that more powerful in such a way that you can truly help Mother Earth in the next step. It's not only consciousness, it is also using every aspect of consciousness to make the connections with the different elements. That's why you live in this world. That's why you live in a world in which you can connect with all four elements. We are grateful that you asked the question, sharing something about the water. The whales can give you far more. The mer people, if they ever are willing to reconnect again with humans, we know that there is deep reluctance to ever do that. But it doesn't mean it's impossible. Because they can be that bridge. They are the ones that are communicating directly with the what you call the Fluidians, by lack of a better name. And that can help you to understand water beyond, far beyond what you do at the moment. So we hope that we inspire you to go on a journey. And when you go on a journey, there are all kinds of beings that are willing to give you more information. As you know, information is coming depending on your vibrational state. We check your vibrational state and share information based on that. Because we know that can be processed, that can be used, and that can be used for growth and expansion. And overload will never work, even though you may be unbelievably curious to know more, and to hear more, and to get practical tips. Make a deeper connection with water and those beings that are directly linked to them, and you will see that you set something into motion that can lead to a lot of new discoveries. Whether you choose to do that, of course, is up to you, or up to those who maybe hear sooner or later this message. Because actually this should be an invitation to all of humanity to reconnect to the elements, and in particular to water, because it holds the information for the changes that so badly are needed. We feel that for this moment, this was a good beginning of sharing more about water. And we are, as I said, very grateful for this opportunity. And see whether you feel stimulated to explore a bit more. Thank you. We love you unconditionally.